Oh, you wanted something, Captain? What, me? You could say that. Well, if you've got a moment then. Just thought I'd mention that if Shodi and I weren't already... Been meaning to say that if you and Fishboy weren't already so chummy. Been trying to say that it's a pity you're already accounted for, Captain. You're halfway towards being a decent catch. Forget I said anything, it's not important. I'll go ahead and say it. You're halfway toward all right. Say no more. I'll give you some room to breathe. Come on, Ishi. Oh, I know, but it's kind of you to say. A captain is better than my usual slim pickings, which is a bunch of lore college dropouts playing sailor. Hypothetically speaking, I mean. Harmless compliment, I promise. Have you ever... Dumb question, but here I go anyway. You ever gotten close to someone, even though it just wasn't... ordinary? Yeah, that about kicks the legs out from under ordinary, doesn't it? If that's your idea of out of the ordinary, then you need a lesson, my friend. Below deck, there are only 2 rules. Keep it interesting and remember your bitter squash. Maybe I'm doing a poor job of explaining myself. What did I tell you, Ishi? What I'm talking about is a scenario where a difference in rank can get in the way of enjoying shore leave. Yeah, that about covers it. This is like picking oakum. Well, that's why we have these little chats. I'm just testing the direction of the wind here. Best not to overthink it. Interesting answer. I like the sound of that authority. As winds do. For what it's worth, I don't disagree. I was just curious. I've enjoyed that sort of arrangement before. Nothing to suggest I won't enjoy it again someday. Naturally. It's all hypothetical here. Depends on what's in front of me and what's on the horizon, Captain. Captain, what did I just tell you about not overthinking this? Well, I've laid out my thoughts. You must have a couple. Be a pleasure, Captain. Funny thing is that Ishi can get particular about people. And when he doesn't take to someone, neither do I. You're the one with the spyglass into people's souls. You tell me how it works. I'm sure he'd tell you if you asked nicely. Did I say that? Not everyone's a bird lover, that's fine. Some days I can't stand another second of Captain Stinkfeathers. But Ishi and I are never parted for longer than a few breaths. Take that however you will. Try not to use any foul language.
Well, this is unexpected. I can think of one, but was your question rhetorical? What exactly did you set out to accomplish by peering into the soul of this noble creature? I am asking the questions. I see. Perhaps you don't know him as I do. You must put a great deal of faith in Maia to find yourself in this situation. Are you so certain that she deserves your trust? You should already know better than to trust everything Maia has to say. The prospect of sharing her company, I can tell from here that it intrigues. You have not postured to her with the same enthusiasm. I wonder what she offers that you do not desire. Far be it from me to judge affection. Better that it bloom or wilt uninterrupted. While the Deadfire is being cut, cauterized, and trampled, it is charming to find someone who makes time for such elaborate foreplay. A word of advice, Watcher. I can say for certain that this is a very hungry, overworked, and at times underappreciated bird. He and Maia share that much in common, at least. Beyond that, I leave the rest up to you. Best of luck in your mating ritual, Watcher. Observing, the one you call a Shiza makes for a convenient lens into your travels. Try not to take it too personally. Do you often turn to birds for relationship advice? I sense that Maia does not easily allow others into her confidence. She is observing you closer than you might guess. She has much on her mind. This may all be a whimsical diversion. That, or she is softening you up for the red work of her masters. But you already know about that. Or didn't you know? Put it out of mind for now. Perhaps it isn't for me to say. All in good time. I babble. What does the goddess of creativity know of kith courtship? Such a heartless word for an occupation which takes great skill to practice well.
I hope that was as amusing for you as it was for me. Oh, I've never seen him so forlorn. Try not to tease my bird in the future.
This shark will decide who eats him and when, I say.
Now that is what I'd call a happy bird. Not to mention a fat bird. Pretty soon I'll have to roll him around like a cask of ale. Well, mark of a good captain, I'd say. Consider your performance noted. Well, I like a man who carries around raw meat. We have that going for us. You struck me as hesitant before, but I guess you're warming to the idea of us being something. It didn't take you long to open up to the idea at first. I like that eagerness. Let's say you've graduated to achieving the bare minimum of my favor, which is farther than most anyone gets. You're talking to a competitive naval sharpshooter with a litter of brothers. Everything's a test. But you also fed my bird, which is just plain decent. Hey, not so fast. Sorry, I'm not new to this. I'm just not used to sharing company longer than a single voyage. I can't say where this goes next, but I'm keen on where it is now. I've enjoyed female company in the past, in case, for any reason, you were wondering. A man will do in a pinch, as long as their best thinking comes from the appropriate brain. Women usually make for better conversation. Not that this isn't its own kind of charming. I just get a feeling about certain people, no matter their equipment. And before you ask, the answer is no.
Kara, I said nothing.
I usually go for the clever ones, though they're not always clever enough to tell that I'm available. What about you? What do you fancy? I don't blame you. Life gets in the way of that kind of thing often as not. That's okay. Unusual choice. We're all slaves to our own nameless want, aren't we? Interesting choice. That right.
Well, the cat mayhaps be the first swabby since Romaro to be recognizing my many strengths, moral and ethical.
Reckon I like you too, Watcher.
Kara, just look at me.
Whatever works. I like that much better than tedious and uptight.
Well, someone clearly missed the point. You're on track. Just try not to steer us into a sandbar, Captain. Sounds nice when you say it like that. A little wholesome for my taste, but nice. Fair enough. I'd say we both deserve some distance. Hey, aren't we both figuring this out as we go? So you're finally convinced that I won't steer us towards the rocks. Good. However it pans out, thanks for taking the time. And for the bird food. With everything going on at once, I wondered if we could talk. Later. You're making a lot of assumptions about how much time we have. You're a good captain. Maybe I don't say that enough. Can we take a detour to the officer's lounge in the Brass Citadel? I could use a drink. I'd feel cozier with my kind. away from the rest of the rabble. I want to take my mind off what doesn't need to be there. I appreciate it, Captain. Hope you don't mind if I gather my thoughts on the way. Before I unload my cargo onto your port, how about you let me buy you a drink? May our enemies get caught up in their talons. To a good ship and a better crew. Maybe you can do this without liquid courage. I'm not there yet. And to all who defy the Lady of Lament by sailing across her back. You'll know as soon as I'm ready. May Aethys lose his footing and tumble down a sea trench. To every friend who vanished beneath the waves. I tell you, something about all that open water. Knew you were clever. To the mortar, and everything beyond it. Thank Bareth we have you as our living compass. I'd say Rauatai plans to set sail, compass or no. Flatterer. Suppose I wanted to talk about uncertainty. Under different circumstances, I'd be aboard that aimless fleet. Likely as not to die. As things stand, I'm thankful to be under your command, Captain. In a campaign that keeps changing, being a part of your crew makes me feel like I have a hand on the wheel. But now, all I see is open water on all sides. Funny thing is, I know you mean it, but I still worry. Sometimes I wonder if that's what you really want. I'll show you a sad drunk. You want the secret to a lady's heart? Insult her occupation. Ass. Remind me to have you on hand the next time I get like this. While the powers of the Deadfire claw at each other's faces, you'll be digging through a god's body for your soul. I'll be following orders. Well, unemployed. Doing what I do best. With all that uncertainty, do we even have room for this? I'm pouring my heart into every glass, Captain. Don't just sip it. I can tell there's something here worth clutching with both hands. Ugh, I'm as full as a barrel. I should gather my thoughts in healthier ways, like knitting or taxidermy. True. Shooting down goals as we drift with the tide. I can get behind that. Wouldn't be the first time I considered it. Captain, when we're standing at the helm, the ship feels unsinkable. I'm glad I get to cozy up to that feeling. Yeah, she's as glad too, not that his opinion matters. Yeah, well, good shark meat is hard to come by. Might not be a bad idea. Once my head is cleared, I'm sure I'll think of an even better one. They have a special room here for ranking officers. And their guests. That's more of a closet, really. We can just talk. And if it goes any further, we'll know exactly why and how far to take it. Oh, look who grew some standards all of a sudden. Suit yourself, Captain. There's space in our quarters for that sort of thing. That sort of talk is just begging for mutiny. I felt that one down to my toes, Captain. I know what a kiss ought to feel like, Captain. Your heart wasn't in it. I just don't see this working. Never fails. Whenever I focus beyond my sights, my aim goes off. I can't let that happen. We had our fun. I'll go back to looking and listening. For what it's worth, I never told my boss about us. We were something in a way. Don't worry about the drinks, I've got a running tab. Don't mention it. Really don't. Withholding from a report can get me into trouble. I didn't think so. I was hoping. You're right. I guess I knew that from the beginning. Captain? Well, someone's been doing their morning stretches. Being a captain, a watcher, and the gods only know what else must be thirsty work. Well done. Always nice hearing that from an officer. No promises, Captain. You better learn to keep up with me. Don't I know it? Aye, aye, Captain. Time to ship off and see what the Deadfire throws at us next.